Welcome, bro.
How you going?
Gonna touch on, like, I guess mental health. I usually try to stray away from mental health stuff because I sort of like to stay in my own lane. But a video came up of Volkanovski. He sort of mentioned how he struggled being outside of camp, and that sort of resonates with us a little bit of
Footy players.
being an athlete. And you're so used to that schedule that you get into. Probably more so you when you're in your professional environments, but even I felt it. And I also spoke about how when I was in the routine of at my first job, like PTing at the gym, and then I went straight to online, just that different set of routine rules.
Your own rules?
My own rules, my own time, where I had to figure that out, and it sort of took me a long time. So we're just going to speak on those types of
How long
things.
How long was the transition, do you think? How long did it take for you to sort of figure things out, bro?
Fuck, I reckon 12 months, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Like we just spoke briefly about it just then, and I remember you going through that stage when you first left the gym, and I remember watching and being like, "Oh, that's like I don't feel like that now because I was at a gym and following a schedule, based on the classes." But yeah, it's a good point because I've been going through that now, for the last 2 years.
Is it sort of like being institutionalized, like prison, eh? Like you hear those stories of guys like they go from prison back into normal society and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I think athletes have that similar experience as well when they've been in such, say, professional sports for so long. Your daily schedule to a T.
To a T.
You wake up on time. You get told what to eat, what to wear. Like it's very, very similar.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think that's where people struggle because you go from school where everything's sort of scheduled for you, and then you go into your first job, or in our case, we went and became a athlete, and everything gets done for you, bro. And you got to think about it, the times during the year when we had space to do our own thing. That 4-week off season or 6-week off season, bro, we all ran right?
Yep.
Because we didn't have any structure to keep to, which is, being an athlete, which is what you need anyway, because you're back on schedule when you get into the preseason. But man, as soon as that 4 weeks spans out to 4 months to 6 months, that's when a lot of people do get lost, and you can see it and hear it in that video Volkanovski was talking about it.
I wonder if the fly in, fly out workers are the same because they get told when to work, they go to eat at a certain time and place, and they sleep. I reckon they'd struggle with it as well. I don't know, but if you're listening and you are a FIFA worker, let us know in the comments.
Let us know, because that's a good point, bro. I know, my bro Josh, I'm not too sure what his weeks are like, but those weeks off, I don't know whether or not he's keeping to the sort of same system that he does when he's at work. I do know he likes to go out a lot, but it would be interesting to see, what they're doing in their times off, because you can tell when, this is coming from, coaching people, the guys who are in FIFO, they're really on when they're at work.
Yep.
Because they've got everything, in front of them. They've got the gym just, next to their donga. They've got even space in their donga, and they've got the schedule there. But then, those weeks off, or when they go on holidays with their families, that's when everything sort of falls off, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's like you have too much time. Yeah. Like you go into your normal schedule and like, fuck, man, I got no time to do this and that, and then you get your whole time back, which I sort of felt when I left the gym and I was working from home online, had to do everything myself. I had so much time that I don't know, almost felt paralyzed.
Yeah. And which makes sense, like all the things, we just spoke about it before, like listening to a guy like Hormozi who says, treat every day pretty much the same, and you're just trying to multiply those days and get them going. I think that's where the joy can be found, and I think a lot of people won't know until, especially if you're an athlete, you won't know until you are, running on your own time and everything.
I think just a real big thing would be just accepting that it's it's all right to do that. Like it's all right to feel lost. It's all right to waste hours and days and weeks and months.
Yeah.
Like it's just normal.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you're I don't know, don't feel like you're depressed or that you're not doing what you should be doing. Like it's just totally normal.
Yeah, just giving yourself a pat on the back too.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah,
Like don't be so hard on yourself
exactly.
on that transition period. Like it's going to take how long it's going to take.
Yeah, I felt that a bit, man. Like, but then like I feel like I'm a different cat too. Like I don't watch footy. You know, footy's never been the be all and end all. It was a job for a small period, but then the enjoyment came back. Those last years. Especially finishing off with South Sydney. But when I left, it was pretty simple and cruisy for me. I do feel like, yes, it was hard mentally for me. And I think it was just the adjustment of being around camaraderie. I didn't feel that same camaraderie until I hung out with guys like yourself, or, I was around other guys that knew football and knew how to train football as well, because that sort of made me feel really good. But there's, like you said, bro, there's a lot more time on your hands, and I think being able to fill that space and time can give yourself a little bit of freedom.
I think also he mentioned about his family, like he's got a great family, but sometimes that doesn't even matter. Like you can still feel out of whack. Yeah. Like you can have a mad family, you can have a mad whatever friends and all that,
everything,
but you can still feel a bit off, and that's normal. Like I think having that conversation around it, especially from like we've sort of experienced it and then seeing that guy as well, like at his level, experience.
That was cool. Like how you said before too, bro. Like he's the champ, the world champ, and it would be hard because what beats that?
Yeah,
and to sort of stop, he just lost his last fight, and then to stop for a period, and then just to sort of feel like it would be hard. That expectation that you have of yourself and being able to, I don't know, adjust and deal with things like everyday things would be hard for a guy like him. Different. Yeah, it's fuck.
Yeah, definitely. And then probably like when you go out of routine, finding something that sits in your routine as well.
Yeah,
like you can do training. It's the easiest one.
Yeah,
it's a physical thing that benefits you physically, which I think I fell back on. You have, but you still have like, oh, okay, I got all this time. So you're thinking, should I train for 4 hours a day?
Yeah,
that's the thing. But yeah, I think just managing your expectations is probably the biggie.
I think, like we've already touched on this plenty of times too, bro, and you know how much I love that 75 hard program.
Yep.
I think applying something like that too helps. You don't even have to be an athlete to do it first off, but if you are someone who has left any sport professionally, I suggest diving into something like that, because it does give you a system or a program to keep to. And I've learned a lot from just doing that, because I had to learn how to, prep for myself. I had to learn discipline for myself. I had to learn, a bit of mental fortitude for myself. And I never applied it to myself, running my own business and having my family and having to adjust all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's a good point. And I feel like, if you are in that space after footy, after any sport that you're playing, maybe giving a program like 75 hard to go, because it actually works.
So managing expectations first,
Yep.
Just thinking like it's normal,
Yep.
that you're feeling that, and
It's
then
all good.
and then figuring out what skills that you don't actually have. Maybe you don't even know how to work out properly because you've just been following the whiteboard the whole time, And
Yeah, that's
you've
a good
had
point.
a coach next to you that you actually have to do it, but now you have to be able to train by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to actually, you got no one to hold yourself accountable,
Accountable.
like weighing in, even all those little things.
Yeah, bro.
You can eat what you want, unlimited.
That's where
Which everyone like puts on
Yeah.
weight after their career.
Yeah.
So you have to learn that skill of self-discipline and training, self-discipline and diet.
It's all different again, I think.
Yeah.
Like you said, bro, there's no one holding it accountable, so you got to hold your account.
Probably harder.
It's harder, bro. I agree, because when you're in the professional scene, it's easy to be held accountable and separate yourself. Like we said last week, separate yourself from your family, right? We come from family, so it's easy to go, all right, I'm fighting this week and I'm playing footy this week, and so I need to eat like this, But when that is out of the picture, bro, it's just like,
what's your excuse? Why aren't you having that birthday cake?
yeah, exactly, bro. So I feel like that's a really, really good point.
So then being able to have conversations with your partner,
That's hard.
your kids, your parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your mates.
Exactly.
You like it, and this is another good point too, bro. Like your circles, your friendship circles change.
Yeah.
Because you know, I left footy and you know I still love the guys that I played with, but I don't hang out with them anymore. You're the only guy that I hang out with, bro. And having to adjust with that freedom too, you know, making sure you're spending time with people who do fill the cup. That's a bit different now because you're not in a professional scene. You're not around physios and coaches and fellow teammates and guys that are here to amp you up. You got to amp yourself up, and sometimes you need to hang out with guys like yourself who can automatically do that by walking into a room.
And it's then it's finding like stuff with your friends to do. Like, what's the easiest thing to do? Is go to the pub and drink like beers and gamble. Like, isn't that the easiest thing to do?
It's the easiest, bro.
Let's go catch up for a beer.
Yeah.
Like, I catch up with my mate on, like, we catch up on Tuesdays. That gym session's locked in. So that's a bit more of a healthy option than let's go to the pub and have a slap on the pokies or bet at the fucking on the horses. And then on Wednesdays I've got a boxing session that I do with my mate.
Yeah.
So every week those two are locked in.
Mm.
So I'm sort of like catching up with mates plus getting some training in, which, you know, is better than going on the weekends. I know it's harder for others, but you don't always have to, you know, get on the piss to have a good time.
That's what I think a lot of the guys are doing too.
Yep.
And I think being able to apply some of these things is where you're going to be able to find freedom. You know, for me, like honestly, a lot of my freedom was found by picking up more responsibility for myself first, and then my family. And then, you know, looking into other things. Like I've always been a very spiritual person, and religion was one of those things for myself and learning. Yeah,
it's just trying to do positive things for your life instead of going the other way, which are the sort of the easier things.
Yeah, man. It's so easy to go the other way because it's, you know, you've been, especially in professional sport, man, everything is about that these days, and especially in Australia. So, yeah, finding something else is certainly a hard thing, but can be done.
Yeah, try not to fill those holes up with alcohol, drugs, gambling, all those things, which are the easy options to fill in time with. Like, you can go do that, but, you know, if it's affecting other areas, obviously, then it's probably not so good. I think people are a lot more better, though, getting on the fitness bandwagons. Even if you have to go to, like, an F45. Like, fuck it. Like, there's a group of people that you can do something with, and, you know, some people just like going to the CrossFit with their mates and just ripping into a session. Like,
just finding that really. You know, you don't know what it is. Fuck, it could be anything, bro. You just got to find it, and the only way you're going to find it is not by going down to the pub. It's by going and doing something that's actually going to be beneficial for yourself.
Yeah. Should we do a short one today?
Yeah, short one, bro.
Because it's fucking hot in here.
Thank you, cuz.
Shot, bro.
Yeah, they call me a savage. Now I'm putting in work. I hustle and grind, I put in the time, get what I deserve. Savage.